is say they don't have that situation, right? It's always good to have somebody that does get on you. And don't fear having a coach that yells at you too much, because that's going to push you. That's going to keep you locked in.
Welcome to Q's Health and Wellness Podcast, your source for living a healthier lifestyle and developing a better mind, body, and soul. Through guidance, tips, and stories of highly successful fitness gurus, athletes, and individuals who are passionate about enhancing all aspects of life, we provide you with the tools to help you take your lifestyle to another level. And now your host, Quinn Mitchell.
Welcome to Q's Health and Wellness Podcast. This is your host, Quinn Mitchell. Today I have a very special guest, Robert Skinner. He's a professional basketball player for the Durham Basketball Association. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. For those who don't know, me and Rob, we played on, it was a JUCO about 2-3 years ago for Central Maine. So that's where we first met. For those not familiar with you, would you mind giving them a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Rob Skinner. I went to school in Winsted, Connecticut. Had a great career there, all 1,000 point. And then I went to a school out in Rhode Island. I ended up getting hurt there, but it was a good little stint called CCRI. And I transferred to Maine, what was it called? CMCC. Then I went there. Yeah, did about 2 years there. Had a real good career there as well. And then I ended up getting a connection to come out here to play in Australia.
Right. Yep, that's what's up. So for those just wondering, what made you get into basketball? Like when did you first start playing?
Well, I first started playing at a young age. I was probably about 5, like when I first started playing, but it wasn't up until I think maybe the second grade when I knew, like, okay, I could actually do this. I could, handle my own. And then I think by the time I was in high school, my freshman year, I was playing for the varsity team. But it wasn't until I didn't get my confidence until I went to a Providence camp, and I ended up winning MVP at that camp. And then when I came back home for that next school year, man, it was just my confidence was at a different level. And I knew, like, basketball is going to be my thing.
Yes, sir. Now, speaking about the confidence, I noticed we was going to talk about this a little later, but you just brought it up. A lot of people don't really realize how much of a factor that is when you're a student athlete and you're trying to find yourself. And then when you find that confidence, it brings you to a whole nother level. Could you just talk about that for like players that are just starting to play and they're trying to find themselves, and they find themselves in a situation where they're not getting the playing time that they want?
Yeah. I'll put it like this. Confidence is one of those things, like, nobody could teach you. You just got to have it, and it comes to you in different waves. Even you could be a great player and then lose your confidence. You could be a player that might not be getting a lot of minutes and somehow lose your confidence. So you just got to find ways that work for you. I would say when it comes to, let's say, you're not getting a lot of playing time and things like that, you got to just find the little things. Maybe set some goals going into either the week, right? So at practice, you say, okay, I want to make sure I know all the plays so nobody can tell me I don't know the plays. That's why I'm not in the game. I want to be able to knock down open shots. Knocking down open shots is very key. I think that's what separates a lot of, good players from great players, is just, can you knock down the open shot? Situations, anything, like even when you're in the school, you just want to keep building up your confidence. And then as far as that goes, it's one of those things where even me, when I'm playing over here in Australia, there was a time period where I made it out here, but I still didn't have the confidence yet. And it wasn't until I joined they had this big tournament. It was the Airfield Games, and it was packed. Like, mad people were there. And I ended up getting selected for that team. And once I got selected for that team, I started feeling like just a little bit more confidence. And then going into, I want to say, the last 3 games, I just killed it. Had a good tournament. We ended up winning the whole thing. And ever since then, my confidence was just on a different level. And I went on to have a real good season. And I was selected top 5 best players in the league. So, confidence is Confidence is definitely key to everything. Everything.
Yes, sir. Now speaking on that, what do you think when you were in college or just in high school period? What do you think was one of the biggest obstacles that you had as a student athlete, just trying to balance out? Was it trying to balance out your personal life or practice, or trying to go out and then go to practice? Like, because a lot of people don't have that balance and they get caught up in either doing too much of one
Yeah.
thing or doing too much of the other.
Yeah. Um, you know what I would say for that? It's funny, like I remember, yeah, it's kind of like I had to pick and choose what I really wanted, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say my personal life off the court, if it wasn't matching up to my life on the court, then I really couldn't vibe with it too much. Like, yeah, there'll be times I want to have fun with my friends and you know, just let loose. And I would, but at the same time, I know I had to snap right out. The next day, I got to be right back in the gym, you know, getting right back after it because I couldn't afford the lapse of not getting after it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I took too much time off from what my goals were, then I knew I was gonna miss out on what I really wanted in life. So that's kind of like how I see it. But high school, I would say like each step of the way your mindset changes, you know? So in high school is all about, okay, I need to perform and I need to do this so I can make it to a good college, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So going into those games, I was already writing down how many points I wanted to get, you know, what I wanted to accomplish in that season, just things like that. And I would just try to go out and do it. I would say in college, it was more about, um, you know, you got the college lifestyle, you got the things like that. So
Yeah.
it was it was a little bit different, but it was still good because you still had to I guess kind of decipher what you really wanted because you got obviously the women on campus, all the distractions that come with campus life and things like that. Still have to do your schoolwork, but like I said, it's all about what you really want, and you got to be able to stay strong and stay disciplined.
Yeah, that's for sure. Cause I remember it was plenty of nights when we was in the gym and everybody was out partying. It was like, man, we could easily be out
Exactly.
like them. But at the end of the day,
Yo.
I feel like like you said, when speaking on the confidence, a lot of people don't understand that confidence comes from all that time you put in when it's outside of practice and when it's everybody else is asleep, everybody else is out partying, and you just in the gym. I remember, like no lie, Rob. You remember we used to go at it, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Cause CM gym, a lot of people don't know that them Joe say
That
close. So
shit
we used to
stays
be in that
open.
gym 2, 3 o'clock in the morning going crazy, and a lot of people didn't realize
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that confidence is key because that all that work that you put in outside the gym, I don't think a lot of kids realize like they do everything for the camera nowadays, and it's like
yeah,
they do
yeah.
it for Instagram. Like they're going to gym, put 10 shots up, and call it a day, but they don't really realize what that grind really does for them at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's that muscle memory as well.
Hmm.
Like once you start training yourself, you train your body. Then once you start training your mind, you seeing those shots go in. And the way I think about it is like, if I'm putting in all this work, there's no way I'm about to let somebody that I know is not putting as much work as me beat me. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like we're going into the week, I'm doing everything I got to do. Shit, my confidence at an all-time high just because of that.
Hmm. So what do you think is one of the biggest sacrifices you had to make either in your professional career or during your college career? Um, whether it be personally or whether it be sport wise, what's something that you had to sit down and say, all right, it's either this or I'll have to go this way.
Yeah. Well, in my professional career, it's definitely been family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I probably see my family maybe once out of the whole year. Um, and it's only for like 4 weeks. So that's tough. My sister comes out here every now and then, but I would definitely say family. When it comes to, you know, high school and um, let's say college even, the biggest sacrifices was probably just when it comes to off the court, obviously just not, you know, going out every night. That's not something I wanted, so I don't really see that as a sacrifice. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say more so just different relationships, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because I know there's some relationships that let's say, may have been good, may have worked out, but at the same time, I was going to this school, they were going to that school. You know what I mean? It just would have been too tough. And then when it comes to staying focused, I never wanted any distractions or anything like that that could really get in the way of what I was trying to accomplish.
Got you. Now, jumping into the mental aspect, I know this is going to be a big thing because a lot of college athletes, even right now, I know some people like no, like they're going through it mentally because, okay, they before high school or even during college, like okay, they say they got injured, right? So say coming back from an
Yep.
injury, like their coach isn't their coach isn't really fucking with them like that. Excuse my language. So then it comes
Yep.
to it messes with their mind now. So then when it comes to mental preparation, you putting all this work in, but then the coach not playing, you sitting on the bench for 3, 4, 5 games, and it's like no, that eats you alive. As if you're a real live athlete and you know what you can do, that eats you alive. So my
Yeah.
question to you is, how do you stay mentally strong for things like that? Because even at CM, you know there was times. There was no lie, Coach Guy, he a cool guy, but it was just times where he just didn't always see eye to eye with a lot of players. So
Yep.
people had to sit down and it's like, man, you really question, is it really worth playing basketball at that point? So how do you stay mentally strong during those times?
You just got to trust the process, honestly. Like, the way I think about it is all the work that either I've put in or that you might have put in or whoever is going through it, they got to think about that first, you know? And they got to think, damn, all this work I put in, there's got to be light at the end of this, you know? No matter what I'm going through right now, there's got to be some type of light. And if you just trust that, sooner or later, like, yeah, your opportunity is going to come. And as you saw with yourself, like you left CM, you went to UMA, and you got your shine. And that's just, to me, that's just how things work. If you just stick it out, you get through it, there's going to be light at the end. So, I mean, during the times, yeah, it is hard. It's definitely hard. I mean, even myself, there's time, remember when I came back my second season and I thought I was going to be getting crazy minutes, like max minutes every game.
Yeah.
Bro, that shit had me tight sometimes. But me and Coach, we would talk about it. Like, he would come to my room and he would be just like, you know, I'm saving you. Like, I just want you to be fresh. I want everybody to get a certain amount of minutes, yada, yada. But at the time, I was like, yo, I'm really not trying to hear it. But
Yeah.
I get what you was trying to do. And at the end of the day, it did make my stats look better. The fact that I was producing so much and, you know, only playing, 20-some minutes, 23 minutes or so, when everybody else was playing, you know, max minutes and still putting up around the same numbers. So I guess it all worked out in the end. But, yeah, it's tough going through it. It's definitely tough when you want more minutes, you want more time because you feel like there's more to you. You can shine, you know? So it's all about just sticking it through.
Yeah, and also speaking on that, well, I know a lot of you you talk a lot about on your Instagram on your Game to Game TV. One of
Yeah.
the topics that you had spoke about was how can people translate their game that they put in the gym to all actually on the basketball court. But the thing is that one of the questions I have for you is a lot of times what they are practicing is not oftentimes fit into the game plan of the coach's system. So, what would you
It's true.
advise? What would you advise for kids or that's listening to this, or people in college even playing on a team right now that's listening to this? What would you advise for them that's okay? They have this workout regimen, but it's hard for them to translate into the coach's style of play because he doesn't play like that. If you know what I mean.
Yep. This is how I think about it. If you were to switch it, what bad's really going to come out of it? You know what I mean? Now you're going to learn 2 different games. So now let's say you're an ISO player, but your coach doesn't like ISO, but you're good at ISO. You know what I mean? Only thing that's going to happen if you switch it, now you're going to learn how to be off the ball. You feel me? So nothing bad's really going to come out of it. You're just going to have to teach yourself a different style of game. But when in doubt, trust me, there's always room for ISO ball. So you're going to go back to it later in the game when they probably need you to go to it, and you're already going to be ready. You know what I mean? So that's why I would tell people, like, in situations like that, because, you know, people go from school to school, and they, you know, different coaches come in and out. You're always going to have a situation where maybe the coach likes it this way. I've had coaches in the past who've just been straight discipline. And it's just been, no, this the offense we're running. You know, you come off screens, you do this, you get it, either you shoot or you pass. Like no dribbling, no taking 100 dribbles, yada yada. So I would definitely say change it and make it work for you. For the time you're there, be the best at what they're asking. And once you master that, then they're gonna give you even more leeway. Because no matter what the situation is, you look at, let's say you want to look at like NBA players and stuff. You know what I mean? You look at Kawhi Leonard, for instance, when he was with the Spurs, he came in and he was really just a defensive player at first, and he started molding his offensive game. Yeah. But they say with the Spurs, you know, everything is so structured. But then there was times where they kind of let Kawhi do his own thing, like, nah, Kawhi, go get it. You know what I mean? So I would say no matter what coach you have, sooner or later, they're going to take the ropes off you, and they're going to let you go. But you just got to fit first.
Yeah. I've got 2 more questions for you before I let you go. So how
good. We got time.
Yeah. So how are you able to take what you're dealing with off the court, and not let that distract you, on the court? So what I'm trying to say is, you know how when we play, when you get in that zone, it's like, okay, it's just not. It's just me and the basketball. That's it. Like, there's no outside distractions, and it's I'm killing whoever's in front of me. But a lot of people, they're struggling, trying to, whether it's girlfriend issues, whether it's family, whether it's whatever may have you, whatever they have on the side, they're struggling trying to filter that out and just focus on the game. So what advice can you give players that are having trouble just trying to filter that stuff out and get a killer mentality when they step on the floor?
That's one of those questions, like, it's kind of tough because that depends on how strong-minded the person is. It's one of those things, like, for myself, when things were going bad in my life, the basketball court was my place of peace. So I would kind of, if something was happening, let's say in high school, I'll be at the YMCA. No matter if there's people there or not, I'll just be in there shooting, getting my shots up, doing drills, because that was my place of peace. I think for somebody that's, let's say they're going into a big game, they just received like bad news or whatever it is, there's got to be something that you do before the game. Maybe like whatever ritual you have before the game, you got to do it. And you got to just lock in on that ritual, because that'll take your mind off it. And not even take your mind off it, that'll trigger your mind to say, okay, I got a game right now. I can't be distracted with what's going on off the court. I got a game right now. And it's one of the things that I think us athletes go through the most. And it's like it's a genius side to us, where it's like we could just switch like that and be locked into a whole game, even though, we have this, that, and the third coming from left field at us. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the special things about every athlete, is that they have the ability to do that. Because that's, when you're thinking about it, it's like, damn, that's so tough. And not only that, I would say, you got athletes where we're on the court and we're just trying to kill each other. We're just trying to go at it, and we're probably at the highest level of competition, where in our minds we're just competing, But then the second after, bang, we can clock off like that once the horn blows, and hug families, shake hands, hug our grandmothers. You know what I mean? That stuff is, it's just crazy, but that's the ability that a lot of athletes have.
Now going deeper into the killer mentality, I know this something me and you used to talk about all the time. What is something that you would give players to look for when you going up against somebody, and it's like, Rob, you deep down inside when somebody really doesn't want to be on the same court as you on the opposite side, like they don't want to guard you at all. Can you tell people what are those signs that they can look for when they're really locked in? This is only for people that's really have that confidence already, but they don't know they haven't experienced that side of when you're already locked in and you already in the opponent's head. They don't even want to be on the same floor as you. They don't even want to walk next to you. So could you just talk about that a little bit and just expand on that?
You know what I look for, and you know what I love, is when the game starts And then let's say after the first quarter or within the first quarter, I already had 3 different people guarding me. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where dude will be ready to guard you, could be right there. Next, he's switching. Oh, switch. And then timeout comes. Hey, bro, you guard him now. Once you hear that, you guard him now, you won. Because they don't really want those problems that they have to have somebody else be like, yo, you guard him now. And then once he gets tired, I'll be back on him. And then once this guy gets tired, then we're gonna switch on. Like, yo, that's crazy. Just either guard him straight up or just don't guard him at all. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's help, there's double teams, things like that that's gonna come. But when you hear that, it's a satisfying feeling because you got him already. Yeah. And there's been many times where it was like, I remember AU days, high school days just coming up where it was almost like I'm looking at dudes who are much bigger than me. You know what I mean? Probably go to bigger schools, but once you're on the AAU surface, none of that.
It don't matter.
Nobody cares what school. Yeah, nobody cares what school you go to. So there was times I'm like, damn, these dudes are good, but maybe it was just like all the work. Not maybe, but all the work that I put in, I was always like had energy to just for anything. You know what I mean? And sooner or later they would get tired. Then once I saw they were tired, I didn't let them off the hook. If I didn't have the ball, I was running off screens. I was doing other shit. I was never just standing still so they can get their energy. You know what I mean?
So that's one thing I was gonna mention too, because a lot of people they don't realize once you got the foot on their neck, you got to keep applying that pressure. Like you can't stop. You cannot stop because the minute you stop.
Funny?
Go ahead.
What's funny part is like you're saying, the minute you stop, that's when shit could actually turn. That's when they could just jump right back in it. But even doing little stuff like, you got them, you're in the head, so you just start applying with like little like pump fakes, jab steps, even though you might not even do pump fakes, but you're gonna do it anyway because you're already in the head, and you can just counter off of them real simple. You know what I mean? But it's always like a chess match. Always a chess match. Once you're in the head, it's a chess match.
Now speaking about that as well, I know a lot of people. They say they playing a college game, they miss 3 or 4 of their first shots, they're out of it already. But if you have that mentality and that confidence, this is what I want you to speak on. It's like people don't really understand that when you're in the gym, you're shooting 500 shots a day, you could miss 10 in a row. You're still gonna put up that 11th jump shot, but without thinking about it. But that's something I want you to speak on, because a lot of people, you're a pro athlete. A lot of people don't understand that. It's like it doesn't matter what your coach says if he tell you to stop shooting. If he tell you to stop shooting and you stop shooting, then you really don't have that confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's so important for kids growing up nowadays. Like, even when I'm watching the game, I love when I see a kid start off the first quarter terrible, but then come back in the fourth quarter and kill it. Because that lets me know, like, yo, that person, that kid, whoever it is, they got it. They got it. And I would just say, like, it is a mindset. And it's one of those things that you do have to trust your work ethic. And there's always little things that can trigger you to come back stronger. So let's say you start off bad and it's like, okay, damn, now I got to get to the line. Or I can't just settle for shots anymore. I got to get myself going. Like, I know for me, let's say I start off bad, a steal and a layup can get me going again. You know what I mean? Just little things like that can get me going. A rebound can even get me going. And that's just how I look at it. I mean, for other people who may have to just wait until they get that 3 off and they're just shooters and shit, they got to keep shooting. You know what I mean? Because a shooter can get streaky. And no matter what, I don't care if you miss, let's say your first 5 shots, that 6th shot, that could be the one that gets you really going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And you always got to just think about the next shot. I tell kids, even the kids that are around me, the kids that I train and stuff like that, when we're training and stuff and you miss a shot, I don't want to see no emotion on your face. I don't want to see nothing. Don't pout about missed shots. Don't do none of that, because that shot's over with. It's on to the next shot now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one of the things my pops always taught me growing up. Like your pops probably told you too. It's like you never show emotion, especially during the game, because it's like that, or the previous shot never matters. It's all about the next shot, the
Yep.
next opportunity, the next steal. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of kids. I think us, me and you, we had mentors growing up. Either we had our dads in our lives that was training us or coaching us, or we
Yep.
had mentors that was showing us the ropes on how to do things. And I think a lot of kids, they don't have that.
Yeah.
So I see kids playing the game. You got kids throwing temper tantrums on the bench, going crazy because they not getting their way or they missing shots. So they you can tell them mentally out of it. So I think that's one of the things that us with this podcast right here is like we're allowing kids to see it's not about what you did previously, and it doesn't matter if you don't have a mentor in your life. It's like, okay, we're giving you all the game right here. All you gotta do is we give you the blueprint. All you gotta do is follow it now.
Yeah, facts. And it's just one of those things you just gotta check yourself. You know, if you know that your temper is getting away from you during the game, well, that's just a sign of just being undisciplined. You know, once your opponent sees that, they're gonna take advantage of it. You know, especially if they're a smart player, they'll definitely take advantage of it. And even when it comes to just things like, let's say you're real tired, right? But you don't want to show it. You show it in the huddle. You know, that's why they always say in the huddle, keep your huddle tight. So the other team can't just look over and be like, oh, nah, he's tired. You know what I mean? Because I love that feeling. I love being in the huddle, and I'll give a little glance over to the other team's huddle. And if I see them, I'm like, man, watch. When we come back in, I might play him the whole court, full court. You know what I mean? Not even to steal it, just to get him even more tired. And then once we got the ball, I'm just going to be moving off the ball, doing whatever I got to do. Because I know he's already tired. But, it's a huge psychological game. Like, the game of basketball will teach you a lot about yourself. You know what I mean? That's why there's times like now, especially now that I'm older, you know, I'll be in the fourth quarter. The game might be tight, but I'll kind of be grinning. You know what I mean? I'll be smiling just because I've been in these situations so many times. And in my head, it's like, I'm prepared. Whatever happens, like, I'm prepared. Whether I take the last shot and miss it or whether I take the last shot and make it, I'm prepared because I trust the work that I put in. You know what I mean? So that's just how I look at it.
So, and I know we spoke a little bit about this before, but I wanted you to expand on this a little bit more. How can you, as a college player or even in a high school player, when you know your game and you've been playing, this is only for people that's been playing basketball really their whole life, and they really got like a solid fundamental game. And they know their game. How do you not let coaches change your game? Because I know a lot of coaches if a coach, I feel like a coach honestly could spot a weak-minded player, because all they got to do is say, okay, you stop shooting threes. And if you've been practicing your whole life, that's like you, a coach telling you stop shooting threes. You're gonna laugh at them, be like, "And next ball I'm shooting is gonna be a three just because you told me to stop shooting." But if a weak-minded player, if coach tells them that, they're gonna stop shooting three. They're not gonna shoot three the rest of the season. So my thing is, I'm asking you, how, as a player, how can you not allow coaches to affect your game?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a very tough one.
Especially when you're trying to play within the system, but also not allowing them to take you out of your element at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I would say look at the whole situation first. You know what I mean? If you're somebody who, let's say, bounced around from school to school, then you gotta switch it up. You gotta change it. However, if you're somebody at a new school, new opportunity, then you almost have to look at it as a challenge to show the coaches what you're made of and show the coaches your true game. You know what I mean? And if you just keep working on that, you keep knocking away, sooner or later, you're going to get that chance to shine and show them what you're capable of. I would say at the level I'm at now, it would be a situation of, and it's just the reality, if I do challenge the coach, do I have a backup plan? You know what I mean? If things go wrong, you know what I'm saying? So I got to look at it from that point of view as well. Like, if things go wrong, man, I got to have a backup plan for this one. But
Yeah. But if you at that pro level, then you already established. And it's not even a question
yeah,
of what you do, but the coach already knows. Well, I'm saying as for instance, some if somebody went to CMCC like a weak-minded player, and so
yeah,
let's say coach ain't know nothing about him. He just came in, and he just was
yeah,
just playing his natural game. But at the end of the day, coach didn't recruit him. So it's like you at the end of the day, it's like at some point, I feel like coaches they see because they can never try that or mirror you because it's at the end of the day, we just gonna shoot the ball regardless. But if somebody's like
yeah.
somebody that's like closed minded and is very soft spoken and quiet, I feel like coaches can
Yeah,
see that, and I feel like sometimes they'll take advantage of people like that and try to mold them into something they're not, if you know what I mean.
yeah. Well, see, that's tough. That's when you gotta stay strong and just get through it for the most part and just prove yourself at training.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when it really comes down to it, say you're not really getting a lot of minutes because you're not really fitting into what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you're in that game, whether it's in the later stages of the game, whenever the case may be, you got to go out and hoop. Like, you either go out and just play your game, try to go crazy real quick, whether you're on for 2 minutes, try to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the fans will see it, you know what I mean? If you're really doing it, the fans will see it. People around, they'll be like, yo, this dude's really nice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's not just no slouch. He's nice. His game is good, whether it fits in or not. And then once that starts, sooner or later, like, the opportunity will come.
Yeah, for sure. And just one more question before I let you go.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you would give to like a kid growing up that a coach wouldn't tell them, especially when it comes to basketball, or if they're trying to get more playing time in college, or even if they're trying to get recruited to college, because like you said,
Yeah.
if you're not close with the coach, a lot of times they're not even going to talk to you regardless. So is this something that you would give as a pro athlete to somebody coming up trying to get to where you're at? Any advice that you would give them?
Yeah, I would say when it comes to just trying to make it as far as you can, you got to understand from an early age, and I tell kids this nowadays, like when I work with them, it's kind of like until you're about 13 or 14, I want the game to be as fun as possible. You know what I mean? Just make it as fun as possible, have fun. But I tell you, if you're serious about basketball and you're about 13 or 14, it gets extremely, extremely serious. So unless you're not willing to go through all that, don't even get serious about the game, because you're about to go up against people who can damn nearly can't even dribble the ball, can't shoot the ball, but they'll defend you the full court just because they're hungry to get put on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're dealing with situations where, you're going into the game, you got scouts looking at you. You got a situation where it's like, damn, now tonight I got to have a good game. I got to put up 25 plus because I got all these people here to watch me. You know what I mean? I don't have a choice to get anything less than 25 plus, you know? I remember like crazy situations growing up, going to play the biggest school seat for like me and probably for you too. Like, I went to a smaller high school, so I got my name off of playing the big high schools and showing out. Every time we played the big high schools, I had to show out because that was my way to get to where I wanted to get to, And if I didn't show out, they would easily be like, boom, look, he's not that good. He's just playing little schools. You know what I mean? But my whole thing was, I'm not playing little schools. First of all, I play you guys in the summer leagues. I play with you guys in AU. I play against you guys in the fall league. It's just during the season, we don't play those type of schools. But I used to tell my coach, like, look, nah, we need this school on the schedule. We need that school on the schedule. Even when I got to CM, bro, we never played CCRI before. I remember Gandhi saying, like, nah, we don't play them. But my second year, I was like, nah, we got to play them. And we got to play Dean as well. And we played both those schools right there in that season.
Yep.
So I would definitely say, like, man, the journey is not there's a lot of sacrifice in the journey. I talk about, not really seeing my family that much, even like situations I had in the past, as far as like just friends, you really, when they say like, when you want to become something, you spend a lot of time by yourself, man, that is true. Like, that is really true. You're moving from place to place. You're probably meeting new people every so often, whether it's people you trust, whether it's people you don't trust. You just got new people coming into your life. But at the same time, you still find yourself by yourself trying to accomplish your own goal. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's such a process and it becomes such a business. And even for me and maybe yourself, like, it was even a business when I was in high school. Like, I took it that serious. I would write down what I wanted to score. And not only that, bro, it got to the point where, you remember Max Preps?
Yeah, yep.
You ever used to use Max Preps? Yeah, so I used to be on Max Preps looking at the top dudes in our state.
Yep.
And I used to be like, damn, what they putting up? So every time they would put up something, I would want to put up something a little bit higher. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And I would just compete like that. And that's how I would do it. And it got to the point, even from my junior year, I mapped out every single game my junior season, what I wanted to score in order to score 1,000. And at the second to last game of the season, I ended up getting it just because I was that locked in from the beginning. You know what I mean? I already mapped it out. Even if I was to miss a few games, what I got to score to make up those points. You know what I mean? It was kind of, it was crazy. But I think, kids need to realize, man, it's nothing to play around with. Like, it's definitely a long process, and it's gonna be good days, gonna be bad days, but it all comes with the journey.
Yeah, I definitely feel 100 on that, cause like I said, even when I was in high school, my dad used to tell me all the time. He was like, if you don't want to go to college, then I ain't gonna say nothing. But if you want to go to college and play possibly pro one day, then I'm gonna be on you. It was times during timeouts. Man, I swear to you guys, my pops, I scored 15 in the first quarter. I didn't shoot the whole game. I didn't shoot the ball the second quarter. He gonna talk to me during the timeout and say, yo, if you don't shoot the ball, I'm gonna come out there. So it's like people don't even realize when you got that kind of pressure on you, that stuff ain't built for everybody. Like, and a lot of kids nowadays, they could fold under that pressure. So it's like, if you're not mentally strong, if you're not there, it's like, man, the basketball, it looks nice when you see it on TV. It looks nice when you see high school, but people really don't understand all the mental stuff, all the pressure that we really go through on a day-to-day basis. They have no idea.
Day-to-day basis. And you know what's crazy? Like, talking about our pops and things like that, man, I want to say throughout my whole career since I was young, my pops probably made damn nearly all my games, right? And it was to the point where if I was playing good, I would just have to look at him, and he would give me a head nod, like, you're doing good. If I need to pick it up, he would just give me one of these, like, let's go, pick it up. You know what I mean? So it was always that little gauge of how I'm doing, And shit, when I was doing good, he was my biggest fan, pumped up. But at the same time, when I was doing bad, he was my biggest critic, always getting on me. But that's what it helped me, because he didn't want to just tell me what everybody else was saying, like, oh, Rob, like, you're such a good player, yada, yada. Like, if I had a bad game, he'd be the first to say it. And not only that, bro, those car rides homes from
who you telling? Especially when you play, when we was playing the teams in East Hampton, that was a 45-minute ride back to the crib. Cause I was going to criticize the whole 45 minutes nonstop. Like, mom be like, oh, you gotta take it easy on him. And my dad be like, nah, he said he's gonna play at a high level, so I'm gonna come at him. People don't understand, bro.
Bro, that's like, really how it was. Yo, I remember one time we drove all the way out to, like, when we went to Jersey, that was a good ass tournament. Like, I killed that shit. But I remember we went to Boston one time, and I was just, I didn't really play bad, but I was playing real nonchalant. And my dad was heated. He was like, wow, I bring you all the way out here, blah, blah, blah. We took this long ass ride, man. I was like, but then as a kid, bro, I was just like, damn, just stop, just chill. Like, I know I had a bad game, just chill. But, man, having that constant pressure on me,
right, it really pushed you to another level. And because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, some days it's like, yo, I don't even want to hear this. I don't even want to hear his mouth. So I'm just gonna go out, go crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out, go crazy. Then I don't gotta hear nothing from him. Even if we lost, if I play well, he'll say, "Here's what you could have did better, but you did good."
Yep.
But he could tell I was playing nonchalant.
Yeah, it was to the point, bro. Like, I kid you not, I didn't give a damn about what any scout said. It wasn't even about a scout for me. It was like, I want to just make sure my pops is proud of how I was hooping. You know what I mean? So I don't got to hear nothing when I get home. We can just talk about what I want to talk about the game. You know what I mean? The good parts where I hit a shot or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, man, I didn't care about no scout. Because the way I see it was like, yo, my pops watched every single game since I was probably in the second grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So his word, I'm gonna trust over. Yeah, I'm gonna trust his word over anything. Like if he says I was playing bad, let's talk about it.
Because at the end of the day,
you know
a lot of times your coach ain't even going to tell you the stuff he's going to tell you. He not because he don't know. Because at the end of the day, your coach don't know your game like your pops know your game. So he not gonna say, "Oh, you was complacent right here." Like he would record the game. We would come back home, watch film. He'd be like, "Oh, you see right there? Why you ain't go box out? Why you ain't go get the rebound? Oh, you was tired, huh? Okay, let's go outside and run." The people don't really understand that. People don't really understand that.
Say they don't have that situation, right? It's always good to have somebody that does get on you, and don't fear having a coach that yells at you too much because that's gonna push you. That's going to keep you locked in. Even even here, I'm out here and, my first few years, I had good coaches, but my past year, I had a coach that really got on me about everything. But yet I had one of my best seasons. You know what I mean? So it's like just having that pressure of, damn, my coach is about to get on me. It keeps me locked into what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, like I said, maybe some kids don't have anything as far as somebody that's going to get on them. Then they just got to be real with themselves. You know what I mean? Never let anybody blow your head up too much.
Yeah.
Just always stay even. And, at the end of the day, my pops always told me, like, you could look yourself in the mirror and it's going to talk back. Like, if you've been working hard, it'll show. If you've been slacking, it's going to show in the mirror. You know what I mean? You can't lie to yourself. Yeah. So that's always, I would just say it like that.
Now, before I let you go, would you mind telling the listeners what a typical day is like for you?
Yeah, at the moment, typical day, honestly, wake up, probably hit the gym. Then after I'm done with the gym, go out to eat. Handle my dog, probably take him to the beach, take him for a walk, something like that. Really just keep it relaxing, hang out with a few friends, and definitely just watching a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
And then, obviously playing, but that's a regular day.
And so, and for players or people who want to get your information, would you mind giving them your Instagram or any contact information?
Yeah. My email is robskinner23@yahoo.com, and my Instagram is robskinner23_5, and my Twitter is the same.
I appreciate you coming on, Rob. Like I said, we'll definitely be in touch more, talk about more fitness stuff.
Definitely.
And we might have a part 2.
Hey, another thing? Yeah. Hey, bro, we might have to do a segment just on like growing up AU days, pops, and things like that.
And we gotta do a segment of CM stories. You might have to get Chev on here.
Oh man, facts. We definitely gonna get up some more.
Nah, that's a fact. But I appreciate you, dog.
Yeah, I appreciate you as well, bro.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Q's Health and Wellness Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe or to leave us a review on iTunes or the listening platform of your choice. Also, please check us out at QuinnMitchellII.com, as well as find us on Instagram for more useful content and resources.